So welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Today I am doing yet again another movie ranking tier list. A franchise we're talking about today is going to be a white woman cult classic series, and that is the Bridget Jones film. This may seem unusual for the channel, but I did watch all these movies just this year, about a month ago. Follow me on Letterboxd if you want to see what I'm watching in real time. I'll leave the link in the description. And for any other ranking videos, there's a couple in the playlist right now. I recently did the Pirates of the Caribbean films. We've got Kevin Smith in there, the Star Wars movies. Go check them out if you have not already. Sort of an odder tier list, if you will, simply for the fact that a lot of people don't really critique romantic comedies because it's either, they're here or not, is it a good movie or not? I'm not gonna let it slide on this franchise. However, I will be sort of critiquing the films more for whether it's a good sequel or not. Not really comparing to any other franchises out there. Thought since I did watch all these films, why not come on here, rank them? Because I did have some thoughts, especially about some of the sequels here. And if you guys enjoy the video and have enjoyed Bridget Jones as a film franchise, let me know how you'd rank the films down below. I mean, they're still making them to this goddamn day. 2025 was the most recent release of a Bridget Jones movie, and honestly, applaud that simply for the fact because what other romantic comedy series do you know got 4 films? So as per standard, we're going to start from worst to best. So, my personal opinion, coming in at number 4 as the worst Bridget Jones film is actually going to be Bridget Jones' Baby from 2016. More or less the plot for this film, Bridget Jones focuses on her single and professional life. It is interrupted when she discovers she is pregnant, but is unsure who the identity of the father is. This is actually Bridget Jones taking like a Mamma Mia route. She's actually 43 in this film, which has its ups and downs for why I enjoy the film. It is nice seeing her out of her 20s. Life's gotten a little bit more complicated for her. The major downside of this film is Hugh Grant not being in it. When I tell you that Hugh Grant makes these movies, he makes these goddamn films. Basically just basing off my little blurbs from Letterboxd, I more or less said something along the lines of this. All the comedy has been stripped that made the original fun. Very true. This movie just bored me, and it did. No other Bridget Jones movie was I checking my phone, not really interested. And then I guess the main issue with this is there has been 3 films now with Bridget chasing a single man. It just seems unnecessary. It's an unnecessary sequel. But what made the original so great was the comedy at its core, and I just felt like this movie was really lacking. It was just an unnecessary sequel, which is so interesting as you see later in the listing. Obviously, the most recent film is higher on the list. This movie just had nothing to interest me in. The whole who's the father sort of situation. I mean, it can be heartwarming for sure, especially the way that they both agreed to sort of just, make the baby the priority and be there for Bridget. But once again, lacking the Hugh Grant sort of situation. As much as I like Colin Firth, I truly do, he's a good actor and he's a good stand-up man in these movies. He's just not all that interesting, and you sort of need the dynamic of the asshole to make him look better, because realistically, this is just 2 genuine guys wanting to be there for this woman, and it's just a bore. It's just a bore overall. I think I gave it like a 1 to a 1.5 star, and I'll stand by that. This felt like the most unnecessary sequel. It was by far my least favorite. And that is not the norm, actually, as we move on to my number 3 pick. Moving on to my number 3 pick is going to be Bridget Jones' The Edge of Reason, coming out in 2004. The direct sequel to the original cult classic. So basically, the plot of this film is, after finding love, Bridget Jones questions if she really has everything she could have ever dreamed of. So, let's get into what is usually unanimously the worst film in the series, which is, it's pretty interesting that it is, simply because it is the direct sequel. Firstly, there was no reason for Darcy and Bridget to split in the first place. I wrote this in my review as well. I said, I'm not a man desperate for love in my 30s, so I can't really understand the rush that Bridget was sort of feeling in this film, but they were dating for like 6 weeks in this movie, and it just seemed like, once again, an unnecessary split. It didn't really need to happen. It sort of went against the character that Bridget was. She was really desperate for love in that first movie, and then she found it, and I think because of the popularity of the first movie, they're like, well, we need a sequel. We can't have it be happily ever after. You guys need to find some sort of reason to split, and there just really wasn't a true reason for it. I felt like it was rushed, and it was just an unnecessary plot point. This is definitely the midlife crisis film of the bunch, this is where she's in her 30s, and once again, she's just sort of figuring out, I am happy, but is this what I truly wanted? The movie did get much, much better as Hugh Grant was introduced into the film. Once again, I think he is the highest of praises in this series. I mean, Renee Zellweger is Bridget, and she's great, but you sort of need this man-child character to really make these movies float. I think it's still kept comedy. It's definitely got more comedy than the Bridget Jones Baby film. However, it's a lot of repeat jokes. It's kind of a fault that this series continues to have through the entire series is the first movie was so goddamn funny in its own unique way because it was new. But instead of improving on the comedy and, evolving it, let's just repeat the same jokes. Let's have Renee, embarrass herself on live TV all the time. A lot of Renee Zellweger's ass gets shown. I guess she was sort of like, it's like they try to make it this sex symbol, and she's a pretty lady, don't get me wrong, but it's just an odd thing that they continue to run. I don't hate this movie nearly as much as a lot of the other critics out there, but it definitely was not what the original was. I felt like really just an unnecessary sequel, and that's the problem with Hollywood sometimes. If you have a big hit, they just want to make more money out of this franchise. So it's really just a repeat entry, an unnecessary one at that. And, it is miles above Bridget Jones Baby because I wasn't bored, but I did feel like I was just watching the first film over again and not as good. Now, coming in at my number 2 position is actually the most recent film, and that is Bridget Jones' Mad About a Boy, 2025. The plot of this film is after jumping back into the dating pool, single mother Bridget Jones finds herself caught between a younger man and her son's science teacher. Similar plot, definitely similar plot to Bridget Jones' Baby. I guess it's a similar plot to all these movies. She will have this mad dry spell of not being with anyone or being married and then her partner passing away, and then she always finds herself in some kind of love triangle. It's just the standard formula. Once again, these movies tend to repeat themselves. I basically said on my letterbox that this is the best and really the only warranted sequel in the franchise. It had a whole lot of heart. The comedy was back on full show. I love seeing Bridget with her kids and obviously, her dynamic with how perfect the nanny is. I love that still to this day, Hugh Grant is just a major slut. The pinch on Bridget's mum's bum at the end of the movie had me in stitches. I'm like, this guy just doesn't change. But also when you see Hugh Grant sick in this movie, he genuinely, he knows that he's a fuckwit, but he plays it so well because he's actually genuinely Bridget's friend. I feel like his character got the time to evolve, and it really, him being in this movie made it so much better after him not being in Bridget Jones' Baby. I really love the symbolism with the owl, that basically it was her partner saying, you can move on, you can be happy, go be with the kids and go find some love. I really liked the symbol of the owl towards the end of the movie. It was just a little touching send-off. Something I haven't mentioned in any of these movies is the dynamic of the friendships. Honestly, Bridget Jones' set of crew and her friends are just as likable as she is. They're honestly there for her through these movies, no matter what, always by her side. Honestly, you want real friends in the real life exactly like these. So yeah, honestly, probably the only warranted sequel. If it was just the original in this film and then we just, had the age gap difference and you were just sort of wondering, hey, I wonder what Bridget's been up to, that would have been fine by me. And I think that would have been a much better franchise. And of course, by no surprise, coming in at my number 1 position is the original Bridget Jones from 2001. The plot being Bridget Jones is determined to improve herself while she looks for love in a year which she keeps a personal diary. I love this movie from start to the finish simply for the fact that it gives me heavy Kevin Smith vibes. As I've said in the past, he is my favorite director, but it's around that era of early Kevin Smith. I'm not sure if people would compare it to that, but I just like the crude humor. It feels very wordy. That's sort of my comparison. Kevin Smith is much more of a script writer than a director. I thought the script on this was solid. I just love Bridget Jones' character in this film. Honestly, she's a very appealing sort of candidate to be a partner, in my personal opinion. She's raw, she's the real deal. She drinks, she smokes, she swears, she embarrasses herself. She's just a everyday human, and it makes her so goddamn likable. Once again, if you're a fan of Renee Zellweger and you want to see some ass cheeks, there's plenty of it on here. I think this is... It's no surprise that this comes in at my number 1, and it's simply just the fact that this was a solid movie. I also love that all the fight scenes in this series were never choreographed. It was just Hugh Grant going out there, throwing some hands. It's just a likable movie, honestly, and it's one of those movies that became a cult for the every woman, for that simple fact that she is. Bridget Jones is not a perfect person. She is the every woman. And I kind of liked it. It's not a perfect movie. I think I rated it like a 3.5 out of 5. It's a very, very good romantic comedy and worth the watch. Realistically, as I said though, the sequels just weren't really too warranted. But when money's coming in, money's coming in. I just thought I'd get off my chest just the simple fact that I watched these movies, I watched the entire series. I would highly recommend it to people out there that are into these type of romantic comedies. Obviously, just start with the first one. It is the best. If it's not your thing, it's not going to get any better for you simply for the fact it's not really a game-changing franchise. It really doesn't change sequel to sequel. But fun. Renee Zellweger, obviously she went on to win Oscars. This is sort of like her baby. This is the movie that made her what she is in the Hollywood scene. And I'm not mad at it. It's a good franchise for what it is. Easy watch. If you guys have seen the movies, let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know how my ranking compares to yours. If you're not subscribed already, definitely subscribe. Leave this video a like, add it to your favorites, and I will see you guys in the next movie review.